1865. 1865 is at the end of the Civil War, where General Sherman promised through Field Order Number 15, 40 acres. At some point, a mill was attached to it, so 40 acres in a mill. But the idea of reparations, can be traced back at least to the early colonization schemes in the 1820s, mainly in New York, Boston, Philadelphia, areas where you had black people who were no longer enslaved. And the U.S. was trying to get rid of us, right? It was a huge discussion and debate in terms of where black people are going to go. This led all the way up through the Civil War, but one of the main things that black people were talking about was that we just can't be shipped to Haiti, somewhere in South America or Africa, because there's something that this country owes us. This country is indebted to us. That was part of the conversation. It was also a conversation that we cannot leave our family who are still enslaved in the South. So this idea of reparations is as old as the liberation struggle in this country. So when we talk about reparations, even after the Civil War, the first person to formally declare and demand reparations, County House, they did so as part of an organization who was really dealing with the impoverished conditions of black people throughout the country, which slavery left us in. So you go through all this throughout the 20th century, where you get Queen Mother Moore, who's a central figure in reparations throughout the 20th century, who's talking about us having land, Republic of New Africa, throughout the South. All these things are movements in which, when we really think about reparations today, and Roger talked about the Durban Conference in South Africa, we're talking about grassroots efforts, right? You're talking about the December 12th movement. You're talking about the National Black United Front. You're talking about NCOBRA, National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations. And we're talking about people coming together in rooms like this.
Vote for me. But we're here to say that the black vote isn't something that is just given out frivolously. It's not just something that you can take for granted. It's not just something that you just get because you're a Democrat. It's not just something that you get because you're a Republican toting a certain line to a certain type of black people. It is something that has to be earned, and it's earned by gaining the trust of black people. It's earned by paying the debt that you owe to black people that built this country. And so if the transatlantic slave trade is a crime against humanity, which it is, then the debt is owed. They stole us, they sold us, they owe us. And so going into this election, we're essentially saying that if the black vote is something that is going to determine this election, which they say every year, the black vote, the black vote, the black vote, then earn it. And before November, before the election, we are calling on Joe Biden to sign an executive order that puts a reparations bill in place at that moment when the executive order is signed. We're not talking about passing a bill that will establish a committee, which is what H.R. 40 is. H.R. 40 is the Commission to Study and Develop Reparations Proposal for African Americans Act. We don't need more study. There's studies that have been done already. There's research that has been done already. There's books that have been written already. We want action. We are demanding action. We not just want it, we not just said we deserve it. It's not just that. We are demanding it. You're saying, if this democracy, if whatever this is dependent on us, then put your money where your mouth is. If you stand by black people, pay the debt that you owe to black people. And that's essentially the campaign that we're putting forward going into this election.
We want. Come on and bring on the reparations. Come on and bring on the reparations. Come on and bring on the reparations. Come on and bring on the reparations.
You're the one who put the present Democratic administration in Washington, D.C. The whites were evenly divided. It was the fact that you threw 80% of your votes behind the Democrats that put the Democrats in the White House. When you see this, you can see that the Negro vote is the key factor. And despite the fact that you are in a position to be the determining factor, what do you get out of it? The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chump.
I mean it, especially those moments, and especially those moments when this campaign was at its lowest ebb. The African-American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours, and I'll have yours, and I'll have yours.
We want. Come on and bring on. What we want. Come on and bring on the reparations. Come on and bring on the reparations.
So when you have an elected official right here who's sitting in office, they have to feel the pressure from people in the community, knowing that this issue isn't just the people in the community, but it's a worldwide thing.
Social media.
Social media. All right? A social media campaign.
Yeah.
Give us a sense of what that could look like.
Probably making something, because in the modern age we use TikTok, Instagram, so probably using that to spread message.
Are you social media savvy?
Somewhat.
Okay. Because what we're talking about is a grassroots effort, and it's starting with people in this room and other rooms we come into. And if somebody has those social media skills, we want to.
So, but I do think there's a limited amount of knowledge about reparations and what it's about. So I think this campaign throughout the summer, through into October, leading up to a tribunal would be one way. The other thing I just wanted to mention is that obviously the campuses exploded around Palestine, and there have been a lot of conversations about how do we build on each campus a committee for Mumia Abu Jamal, but also how would we build on as many campuses as possible a committee around reparations, and to sort of think about that, and to get Mumia to speak about reparations.
Absolutely. Who's our note taker? A tribunal that continues to raise the awareness around reparations. Utilize the existing movements on the college campuses to show how our reparations fight is tied directly to the Palestinian people's fight, right? Absolutely.
I think building off of hers of having a curriculum, or even reaching out to, I worked at a school, and so there are like anti-racist groups on high school campuses, middle school clubs that are anti-racist, or like BSU or affinity groups. If we can get like this information and these kind of videos, so like specifically to those organizations on campuses, or reach out to the DOE, or the schools right around here too.
So full court press on the DOE, and I'm thinking CUNY because I work for CUNY. But yeah, absolutely, because one thing we know, for those who have college experience, you go through 40 years of any curriculum and know nothing about reparations because they're not teaching reparations in school, right? They'll talk about the civil rights movement, but they won't talk about even Malcolm X or Martin Luther King's economic arguments that talks about reparations, right? So they're not talking about any history, and part of what we know about the Black liberation struggle movement is that reparations have always been a part of it, right? Linda, I saw your hand.
Yeah, since we're talking about rewarding Biden if he signs an executive order by our votes, I think that we should be looking in the community and see who does voter registration, who has campaigns going on, and to connect with them. So maybe give a couple of hours to doing whatever they do, collecting names, and then they provide us with an audience to talk about reparations. But if we don't have the votes,